Coming up on Cronkite News, flu season has health officials worried after they see they're seeing a large increase in infections this year over last.
Plus, a local boxing gym is holding classes for those living with Parkinson's, how the sport helps both physically and mentally.
After a week of questions surrounding the team, ASU football has a new starting quarterback. But will this change be permanent?
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Valeria Rodriguez.
And I'm Sydney Whitty. Thank you for joining us. It may be easy to forget with COVID-19 no longer grabbing headlines, but another fall means another flu season for Arizonans to battle. And 1 month into the official flu season, cases in the state are up sharply from previous years. As Cronkite News reporter Emily Miranda tells us from our Washington bureau.
Arizona health officials have confirmed 270 flu cases since the season began on October 2nd, 2.5 times the number at this point in a typical flu season. And surging cases in the southern hemisphere, which officials use as a barometer for the U.S. flu season, do not bode well for things here.
Looks like they had a worse flu season than they've had the last few years. So I think that's sort of what we're anticipating, especially as people have reduced their social distancing and their masking.
Infections this year are even higher compared to last year, almost 5 times higher. Rambod said this may be because people rushed to get flu vaccinations during COVID, which lowered the number of flu cases. Experts say that this is a timely reminder to get a flu shot, even if COVID is in the rearview mirror. Officials also strongly recommend anyone over the age of 6 months to head to their local pharmacy or community health center to get their flu shot.
Getting vaccinated can save you a trip to the hospital and leave that hospital availability open for others who may need it in acute situations.
He says the flu is not a disease to be taken lightly, especially for those at risk, the elderly, children, pregnant women, and those with medical conditions.
Complications from the flu could lead to hospitalization or even death. Flu can worsen chronic medical conditions such as asthma, diabetes, or heart disease. And healthy individuals with no chronic medical conditions may still also suffer from complications.
And there are simple measures in the meantime. Experts say wash your hands, cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze, and avoid touching your mouth and eyes to stay safe this flu season. And if you do come down with the flu, stay hydrated, take Tylenol for a fever, and stay at home to prevent further spreading. In Washington, Emily Miranda, Cronkite News.
To find vaccine clinics near you or more tips on how to stay safe this flu season, visit the Arizona Health Department's website at az.hs.gov.
This flu season, there's another virus that health officials are warning about. The Arizona Department of Health Services is reporting over 1,000 cases of RSV across the state. Another half of those cases were just in the week starting of October 16th. Pima, Pinal, and Maricopa counties have the most cases, with Maricopa reporting nearly 3/4 of all cases in the state. But there are good news. Health officials say we could have a RSV vaccine by next fall. An injection in recent trial was 75% effective in preventing severe RSV infections.
Officials from the U.S. and 36 other countries will meet this week to discuss an issue of ransomware attacks. The summit will focus on how companies and governments can protect themselves from cybersecurity threats. Russia, where analysts believe many hackers find refuge, will not be attending. The talks come from ransomware attacks recently disrupted a major hospital network as well as the Los Angeles Unified School District. The Yuma Regional Medical Center here in Arizona was hit with an attack that exposed thousands of patient names and social security numbers back in April.
Parkinson's and boxing, it seems like these two things would not coexist. However, at Rock Steady Boxing, they use boxing lessons to help Parkinson patients. Cronkite News reporter Ryan Blank details this organization does and how it helps patients.
That's right. In Mesa lies a small boxing gym that's making a difference in the lives of many. The sport known as the sweet science is a catalyst in fighting Parkinson's disease.
I'm rock steady.
3 days a week, Jim Coleman fights a disease that's unrelenting.
I would have more tremors. I would probably have voice issues. My gait would be much more of a shuffle than a walk.
At Rock Steady Boxing in Mesa, Coleman joins other boxers battling with varying stages of Parkinson's disease.
It's not just a class in which you go and attend and leave. It's when there's a lot of interactions, there's lots of support, and there's lots of caring.
The boxers need that support. Many who barely make it through the door for their first class.
After a week, just 1 week of working out with the gym, they are walking. It just makes a huge difference. It just is an amazing program that allows us to really work on their daily struggle and help them feel better each day.
Leanne Hansen co-owns the gym her brother Blaine started back in 2016. After watching her brother's bout with Parkinson's disease that lasted 20 years, she stepped in and helped take over the gym when he no longer could.
It's been so hard. My brother and I are only 18 months apart. We have been best friends all of our lives. Being able to help him and to carry on his vision here has just been so important to me.
Studies done by the Cleveland Clinic show that this style of exercise has many health benefits in slowing down the progression of Parkinson's by strengthening the muscles, loosening joints, and improving balance.
The downward trend of the curve in terms of my strength, flexibility, balance, my walking issues, my voice, both my neurologists are pleased with my progress, and I think one of the great contributing factors is this class and regimen 3 times a week.
In addition to the physical health benefits, there are intangibles that come from being with people who face the same challenges. David Adams was a pilot, but now just leaving the house can feel overwhelming unless he is going to Rock Steady Boxing.
If I want him to do exercise at home, he's always too tired or he doesn't want to. But boxing day, he never fusses. He gets ready by himself, comes to boxing. It's not only the exercise, but it's the companionship that they have with each other.
Because no one understands the effort it takes to answer the bell like the people who all know what it's like to be up against the ropes.
You're not isolated, feeling sorry for yourself. You're actually here with other people that you can interact with.
And even though boxing is normally an individual sport, at Rock Steady, everyone leans into the fight. Fight Parkinson's! There is no cure for Parkinson's. However, Rock Steady Boxing will continue to be an outlet for those battling the disease. In the studio, Ryan Blank, Cronkite News.
Arizona is getting $17 million to bring high-speed internet to its rural communities. It's part of an effort announced by the USDA last week to expand high-speed internet in rural and tribal lands in Arizona. The money will be used as part of the Reconnect program. 2 major projects will work with the Navajo and Tohono O'odham tribes. Both will use grants to create an internet network to connect thousands of people, schools, businesses, and farms. The USDA also says the project will benefit people in Maricopa, Pinal, and Pima counties. Former President Barack Obama will visit Phoenix on Wednesday to campaign with Arizona Democrats. He is scheduled to host a Get Out the Vote rally with Senator Mark Kelly and Secretary of State Katie Hobbs. Both are on the November ballot. Community leaders and other elected officials will also be in attendance. The event will run from 4 to 9 p.m. at a location that is yet to be announced.
Hurricane Fiona caused major flooding and landslides in Puerto Rico back in September. Coming after the break, we'll show you how a nonprofit here in the Valley is organizing relief efforts to help those affected.
We have some beautiful temperatures on tap for this Halloween night. We're going to be in those 70s through the trick-or-treating hours, but we have a big cool down coming later this week. I'll tell you all about it in my full forecast.
Ain't no time for imitation, ain't no time for playing. I'm just gonna do me.
Know what I'm saying?
Try to steer the trouble.
Where's the fun in that?
You know how ladies can be.
I'ma do what I do.
Did you know newsrooms today are looking for bilingual journalists? Cronkite Noticias prepares you to cover diverse communities. In Cronkite Noticias, you will obtain an unforgettable experience.
Nopales como este van a tumbar.
Cronkite Noticias.
And develop your skills with the latest technology.
That way the flavors will marry nicely.
Can you tell me what I'm looking at?
I'm not looking for love, I'm looking for cookies.
And there's still places to discover.
It just absorbs you.
You can make this at home if you can't find it.
I will continue to eat and drink until you get here. Get here fast.
Cheers. Cheers.
Oh, look at that. Damn, doesn't that look good?
We are going to be eating well.
It does work.
It does.
We got a happy little sky.
We're just getting started.
A meteor impact left a new crater on Mars, and images released in a new study show large pieces of ice on the surface. Scientists studying the impact discovered boulder-sized chunks of ice in the debris. The discovery of ice below Mars' surface could help with future colonization of the planet. The ice could be used for drinking water, growing crops, and even rocket propellant for future missions.
In September, Hurricane Fiona led to major flooding and landslides in Puerto Rico. Here in the valley, a nonprofit is organizing relief efforts to help those in need. Cronkite News reporter Jennifer Sawney spoke with organizers.
The Puerto Rican Center of Arizona is a local nonprofit that seeks to promote Puerto Rican culture and awareness. The organization is raising money to help those impacted by Hurricane Fiona, which made landfall in Puerto Rico in September.
After Hurricane Maria ravaged Puerto Rico, members of the Puerto Rican Center of Arizona sent thousands of donations in 2017. Now they're raising funds through community events to help those impacted by Hurricane Fiona.
We here as a Puerto Rican community, we see the need of the people in Puerto Rico, and we have a strong connection with the island and the people in Puerto Rico. We even have families there.
Over 55,000 people of Puerto Rican origin live in Arizona, according to 2021 census data. Members of a local dance group, Orgullo Boricua Arizona, performed at one of many fundraisers across the valley.
So I came here to Arizona almost 4 years ago, and I was there for Hurricane Maria. And I saw what the community did for us, me being in Puerto Rico, going through all of that. And for me being here to be able to help my people over there now, it's so meaningful because I get to be the helper now.
The Biden administration allocated $60 million to Puerto Rico for hurricane relief, but rebuilding is slow, as many were without power weeks after the hurricane.
I think communities and organizations are really important. The government is not doing the job it's supposed to be doing. Basically, that's why we have so many community organizations, because if we wait around for the government, sometimes things don't get done.
This fundraising doesn't address larger concerns, but it is a short-term solution, according to Cruz Torres.
All the funds that we send are just to cover basic needs, like, for example, giving people access maybe to medicines or any personal items they need.
Cruz Torres says this continues a tradition found in Puerto Rico, where neighbors turn to each other in good times and in bad.
As a community here in Arizona, the least we can do is just get together, create some funds, and take them to Puerto Rico to help those families.
For those interested in donating, search for Puerto Rican CAZ on Facebook or send an email to puertoricancaz@gmail.com.
Any minute now, trick-or-treaters will be hitting the streets. Sarah Blue joins us from the Cronkite News Weather Center with all our Halloween forecast.
Well, there's nothing spooky about these temperatures tonight. We have beautiful 70s through the trick-or-treating hours, but you may want to grab a jacket if you're still out around 10 p.m. because we're going to dip ever so slightly into those 60s. Temperatures will continue to drop until we hit our minimum temperature of 60 degrees tonight. Now, tomorrow we are in store for a gusty afternoon. We'll have high winds across the high country and down in the lower deserts, but it's mostly going to be concentrated up in the northwestern part of the state, where there's going to be a wind advisory in place. Sustained winds could be between 20 and 30 miles per hour, with gusts all the way up to 45. So if there's anything that could be blown away in those high winds, be sure that you secure it to keep it safe. This is all happening because we have an area of low pressure that's moving into our state. That's going to bring those high winds, a chance of rain, and some chilly temperatures coming up. So what that looks like is we're going to be in the 80s and breezy for the next 2 days. On Thursday, we have a chance of rain with a 20% chance. Then as we reach Friday and the weekend, we're going to drop into those chilly 60s. We're going to stay pretty cold through the weekend, but by this time next week, we're going to jump back up into those 70s. From the Cronkite News Weather Center, I'm Sarah Blue.
I'm Victoria Samuels. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. Anderson Silva and Jake Paul faced off for a duel in the desert. Who came out on top? Next.
It's prime time on your time. Watch Prime Afternoons every weekday on Arizona PBS. Did you miss a show in the evening? Then catch up on Prime Afternoons. Your favorite dramas.
No more bloody heroics.
Antiques Roadshow.
Really?
Nature and Nova.
It's time to reintroduce some wonder into this miracle of nature.
All of the best from PBS on Prime Afternoons. Weekdays starting at 1:30, only on Arizona PBS. When you support Arizona PBS, you plant a seed. Seeds that provide educational outreach in our community. Seeds that put our digital resources to work. Seeds that foster the trusted news coverage you expect from PBS. And seeds that continue the amazing PBS programs you love. But our garden can't keep growing without your support. Visit our website to see all the ways you can help our garden grow. Plant a seed with Arizona PBS today.
Welcome back to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Victoria Samuels. On this trick-or-treat day, we're serving up mostly treats, especially for fight fans who saw a sweet match at Desert Diamond Arena on Saturday when a former YouTube star turned professional boxer faced off against a mixed martial arts icon. Cronkite News reporter Jacob Flores was there for the big Jake Paul Anderson Silva event.
In one of the most highly anticipated boxing matches of the year, here at the newly named Desert Diamond Arena, where they're actually breaking down the event right behind me, Jake Paul defeated Anderson Silva via unanimous decision. Now, many people thought that this would be a much easier fight for Paul. However, that turned out not to be the case when he went up against his childhood idol.
He was the one that told me I could accomplish anything if I set my mind to it. He's such an inspiration, and you know, I had to go in there and match his heart tonight, a heart that I saw through the TV screen when I was a kid.
After exchanging leather in the squared circle, Silva accepted his defeat and gave props to Paul.
It's very important that people respect the moment, the Jake's moment now. I know I lost. I know I failed in my whole strategy, and my opponent to win, and I need to respect that.
Following the fight, Paul was already looking ahead to his next match as he has his eyes set on another MMA legend.
Is back to the drawing board, and we'll see who it is. But you know, Nate Diaz was here acting like a bitch. Everyone wants that fight. He tried to fight people in the hallway. You know, Nate, stop fighting people for free. Let's do it in the ring, okay? I know you're a little slow, buddy, but it's okay. We can make that fight happen.
Fights of this magnitude and so much hype behind it tend to break records, and that was the case for Paul versus Silva, as it actually broke the record for the highest grossing boxing event in Desert Diamond Arena history. In Glendale, Jacob Flores, Cronkite News.
Saturday's fight was the 6th professional bout of Paul's career. He will also cash in on the pre-fight bet he made with Silva, starting a union for MMA fighters. Thrills and chills in Vegas for the Sun Devils this weekend. The ASU men's hockey team traveled to T-Mobile Arena to play in an annual U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame destination game hosted by the 6th-ranked University of North Dakota. Arizona State played in front of a sea of green as North Dakota fans traveled by the thousands to create a hostile environment for the Sun Devils. UND started off scoring 2 goals in the first 10 minutes of play. But the Sun Devils were able to battle back with 3 unanswered goals to shock the Hawks with 3-2 victory, securing what is arguably the biggest win in program history.
This win is huge for the Arizona State program. We're overlooked in every way. We're never expected to come in and win this game, and we showed tonight that we're a hockey school and we can come and win games versus the top teams in the country.
From a victory on the ice to one on the football field, the Sun Devils were scary good in Colorado on Saturday. Led by Trenton Bourguet, ASU trampled the Buffaloes 42-34. Bourguet, who got the start over Emory Jones, threw for 435 yards and 3 touchdowns. The redshirt junior was a perfect 9 of 9 in the first quarter. A quarterback switch wasn't the only difference from Saturday's game. Coach Sean Aguano also took over as play caller for the first time. You can expect both changes to remain intact moving forward.
Trenton has earned the right to be the starter. Our kids are doing well with him, and they trust him. It's a bad spot for Emory. The great conversation that we had with Emory is that, Coach, I'll be ready if the time comes. And so that's always hard on a kid.
The Sun Devils will host the 10th-ranked UCLA Bruins on Saturday. The Arizona Wildcats went head-to-head against USC on Saturday, who was ranked 10th at the time. The marquee matchup was an opportunity for Arizona to secure a signature win. It was homecoming week for the Wildcats, and former Arizona great Rob Gronkowski was on hand to add a little star power at Arizona Stadium. The Wildcats battled the mighty Trojans and trailed by just 2 points heading into the fourth quarter. But USC was just too much as they came away with a 45-37 victory. Despite the outcome, Wildcats head coach Jed Fish was pleased with his team's effort.
Thought it was one heck of a football game. Thought that there was not a time in the game that we didn't think we were going to win the game. There was not a time in the game that we didn't feel we could go head-to-head with that team, and we did it.
Finally, on this Halloween, we end with a frightful trip around the NASCAR track as they held their second-to-last race of the season at Martinsville Speedway over the weekend. Take a look at this. Using a move literally taken out of a video game, on the final turn, Ross Chastain took his hands off the wheel, braced his car against the wall, and floored the throttle to punch his ticket to the championship race this weekend. Chastain's final lap was 50 miles an hour faster than a normal lap at the track. The drivers will face off in the championship race at Phoenix Raceway this weekend. That's it for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Sydney.
Still ahead on Cronkite News, Halloween safety tips for your pet. How to make sure your furry friends are taken care of when you're heading out to trick or treat.
The weather around Phoenix is just beautiful today. Let's take a look at the weather around the valley.
Thank you for joining us for the special edition of Cronkite News.
Here are the top stories that we're tracking today at noon.
Some of the best players for their program.
Stream the best of PBS on any device with the PBS Video app. All your favorite drama, history, science, news, and documentaries, all in one place. Watch your PBS station live or catch up on the shows you missed. Discover new favorites from PBS and locally produced shows from your station.
Sign in and start streaming today.
Okay, let's go right up in here and start having some fun.
Such a thrill to be able to do this.
Recreation is the gateway drug to conservation.
How do you create that perfect straight edge?
You can do anything. History is today.
Chasing the American dream.
Experience something personal.
A place of imagination.
I can go anywhere I want to go.
You guys are just gonna love it.
An entertainment experience unlike anything.
There's something for everyone with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Halloween is exciting for many, but for pets, it could be confusing and even dangerous. The Humane Society says vet clinics see an average 12% increase of emergency calls around Halloween. So they're recommending some ways to keep your furry friends safe. If you're planning on trick-or-treating, consider leaving your pet at home. Some dogs and cats can get scared of other people in costumes or decorations. If you decide to take your pet, make sure they are microchipped and have their collar on. Also, keep any candy or treats out of reach of your pets, especially chocolate, and use extra caution around jack-o'-lanterns.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.